Hey, we are headed through British Columbia now, and we want to share with you all of the awesome campgrounds and campsites and hopefully boondocking that we find along the way. Last year we had 4 days to get through Canada, which included 24 hours, 1 day to get through the Yukon. It was brutal. This time we get to take our time. So come share that with us.
Yes, come share it with us, because we really are together, even if we're not always together.
Well, another awesome night in Upper Canada in British Columbia this time. Last night we stayed at Liard Hot Springs Provincial Park. Now this park has about 53 sites. The cool thing is that only 20 are reservable, 33 are first come first serve. This is probably one of the top, if not the very top, stop that most people make when they drive to and from Alaska. So there's the beautiful hot springs, there's a boardwalk out to those, and so a nice little walk out there, a couple different pools, and just gorgeous, really nice warm mineral water. But the campground here is 26 Canadian a night, so a little bit more expensive than a couple of the other places we've stayed. It is open year round, believe it or not. They do close the larger loop here, and then they have a smaller loop that's open. They've got, again, nice pit toilets. There's no firewood at this place. They do sell it. At the time that we're here, they were actually out, but it is $10 a bundle. Plenty of food storage lockers, and this is actually one of the few, this is the only actually complete campground we've been at that has a bear fence around the entire campground. So that's kind of crazy. So I know this is a big bear area. The last time I was here was in 1998, so a really long time ago, and it definitely looks a lot different than it did in the past. But yeah, kind of crazy to have an electric fence around the entire campground. The bison, we saw some bison on the way here, and it sounds like after we got here there were some more bison that showed up on the highway right outside the campground here. There was a restaurant on the other side of the highway that you can easily walk to, just have to go through the gate. And so if you camp here, the fee for the hot springs is included. If you come here for just kind of a day use to use the hot springs, it's $5. So it's kind of a bargain for $26 a night, and then you get the hot springs included with that. So another beautiful, beautiful spot. One other tip I would have if you're coming to and from this area is to stop early. So they do have, again, those 33 first come, first serve sites. But even as it's the middle of September, they actually filled up pretty good in here. Most people are gone already this morning, but I would definitely stop early and try. Hey, we're in the Northern Rockies in BC, and we're gonna go for a little bit of a hike It's up that direction. It's called Boulder Canyon. It's about 2.5 miles round trip. Not sure we're going to do the whole thing because we've got the dogs in the truck. A little too rocky for them. But the problem with trying to hike when we're driving is that a lot of the roads go off for ways, and without cell service we can't really do a Google map to see what the parking is like and if we can turn around. But this is like a major pull out that's really super, like way more than easy to get in and out. So let's go for a walk. Yay, hiking. It's a pretty cool trail. It's pretty rocky, but you get back into this canyon and you really definitely feel like you're in the Northern Rockies. Well, maybe that's because we are in the Northern Rockies. Oh my God, it's gorgeous. Wow. Look. All right, kind of a funny story. Last night we stayed at the Triple G Hideaway RV Park. And you know us, we don't really stay at RV parks very often. But you know, sometimes it's nice because they've got the nice showers and the laundry and the full hookups, get everything completely charged up, have a dump station right at your site. But you know, it's 47 bucks Canadian, so it's kind of expensive. So we don't do that very often. We weren't going to last night. We actually missed the turn to a park we were going to go to, one of the provincial parks, and then we came into Fort Nelson, like, I'm kind of done for the day, let's figure out where to stay. There are a couple of maybe free places here in town. One is at the experimental forest, but you know, with our length, you know, it's kind of taken up a lot of room. And then there was some street parking, both according to iOverlander, but we always feel a little weird about street parking. There was another cheaper RV park in town that looked like a parking lot, which is definitely not our thing. This one's actually pretty nice. So the Triple G Hideaway, these sites right here that we're in, I mean, it's mid-September, so hardly anybody was here, but they've got quite a few sites that are out in the woods over there, so it's pretty spaced out other than these sites right here. All right, here's the cool thing that happened. We decided to treat ourselves and have dinner at the restaurant that's right on site here. And we see a 21C through the window go by. I'm like, oh cool, we'll have to go say hi to whoever that is later on. So we come out and there's a 21C right there, parked right next to us, and it turns out it's our friends Jake and Lee. We knew they were up in Alaska floating around, but you know, didn't make contact with them. We were so busy, and they were on a fast trip because they just went up in August when the border opened. So totally by chance that we met up with them here. We met them at the 2020 Quartzite fiberglass rally. So really cool to reconnect with them. It's funny how things turn out sometimes, right? Okay, so let's talk a little bit more about this particular RV park and some tips that might help you in the future if you're a full hookup RV kind of person and you want to go to Alaska. Full hookups here, power water, dump site, right at your site, which is very cool sometimes. The showers are 1 loonie, and that's for 3 minutes. So 2 loonie shower was just about perfect. definitely a little bit longer than what I normally take inside the RV. Laundry facility was very clean, restaurant on site, and they have a gift shop as well. The Wi-Fi was, pretty good, a little bit hit or miss, but our cell service was pretty decent in this spot. But overall, they're winding down for the season, so by the end of the month they'll be shut down. And the lady working last night was pretty much doing everything, RV registration, waitressing, everything, and she was super friendly, not fazed at all by how many people and how much she had to do. So great, thumbs up for customer service, always a huge plus. All right, well, our days are getting shorter as far as drive days, which is nice. We were doing about, I don't know, we only have to do about 100 miles a day to get to Chilliwack by the 26th, so it's super chill. We're not leaving kind of late this morning. Say hi to our friends one more time before we leave. They're heading a little bit further east, and we're heading south towards Chilliwack. So anyway, we are on the road to the next park. The big tip about this one, though, or any private RV park, if you are coming up next summer, I have a feeling that summer of 2022 coming into Alaska is going to be crazy. It's going to be a lot of pent-up demand. So if Canada keeps their border open for Americans to go to Alaska, next year is going to be crazy. So you will need to make reservations, no doubt. And I asked them here on a normal year, on a normal non-COVID year, do you need to make reservations? She says absolutely yes, it is packed. So definitely keep that in mind if you are a full hookup RV park kind of a person. With that being said, if you're not, there's a lot of pullouts and a lot of places that are first come first serve that I think you can easily get a spot for the night, especially if you stop early. All right, see you in the next spot. Hey, it's almost 2 o'clock in the afternoon and we still haven't left Fort Nelson. Some days are like that. And of course we had to stop for more coffee. There's Amanda's Northern Delight, so we just got some coffee there. Thank you, Nancy, for buying us a coffee. And these folks behind us, we saw yesterday. They've got this double bicycle and 2 dogs, and they were way back, so they must be biking the entire Alaska Highway. Crazy, they're rock stars. But we had to get propane. Normally we have a 3rd propane tank with us, and we don't have to worry about getting filled up. But we left 2 propane tanks up in Alaska, and we left 1 down in Washington. We didn't really want to carry a 3rd one when we already have 1 down there. So yeah, run down with 1 tank, and then I started getting nervous. So we've got a filled up. So if you're in Fort Nelson, the Husky gas station normally has propane, but they were out. The backup is Skinner Brothers, and Skinner Brothers was awesome. The owner was, he was like, oh, you had to wait 15 minutes because we were on lunch and we're short-handed, so I'm not going to charge you for it. So I got a tank of propane for free. I mean, how cool is that? Canadians, you rock. That was very sweet.
Really cool couple that are biking. We'll put a link to their site. They actually have started uploading videos on their trip, but they're going all the way from Alaska through Canada and ending up in Minnesota via the tandem bikes with 2 dogs. And their dogs ride in the little sort of baby thing that they pull behind when needed. Sometimes they run alongside or when they're walking, but really a friendly couple, and just kind of taking their time, and they don't really know when they'll hit Minnesota. It sounds like they're targeting maybe October. But anyways, we thought we would stop and chat with them because they look like they had quite the journey. It sounds like some of the issues that they have is just their dogs barking at like animals, so which would be expected because these 2 like to do the same thing. Anyway, it was fun meeting them, and again, hey, check out our link down below because I have a feeling their journey is quite something.
we scored another gem of a campsite last night. We are in Buckinghorse River Provincial Park. That's roughly about halfway between Fort Nelson and Fort St. John. A little bit of a funky campground though, in some ways, but we got here early, key advice, and scored probably the best site in the whole campground, because right behind us is the river, and it's more of a creek. It's probably more of a river in the spring, but we have a little trail that leads right down to it. There's really only a couple of sites here in this campground. We're in site number 14, and I think there's probably maybe 20 sites here, but we scored one of the few sites that's actually long enough for us in the truck and the travel trailer without having to disconnect. There's another site down that way. So basically, most of the sites are, better for car camping. There's some sites down that way down there, better for car camping, and then there's some other sites down that way. A couple of them are roughly long enough for truck and trailer, but some of them are definitely a little more set up for car or truck camping. This one is $20 Canadian a night, and it is first come, first serve. When we got here, we were the only ones here, so it was really nice and quiet. And of course, when travelers are traveling, a lot of times they don't show up until 5, 7, 8 o'clock at night, and that was definitely the case last night. So we had a couple of car campers down that way and one truck camper, and about 6 slots down there, and then that direction there was a Scamp and a Class C. That was it overnight, so extremely quiet. It's enough off the highway that you can kind of hear a highway noise a little bit, but it's far enough away where it's not an annoyance in any way, shape, or form. Buckinghorse River Lodge is also across the highway there. If you need any additional services, there's a restaurant and actual lodging. So nice picnic table, nice big area, fire pits, and kind of the standard fare. Now with the BC parks, we have noticed that there is no wood that comes with your camping fee, but that's okay. We're not used to the free wood like they have in the Yukon.